Good evening and a very warm welcome back to the 750 Motor Club Sim Championship powered by Grid Finder. Tonight it is the finale, the fifth and final round of the championship. It is the F1000s from Donington Park, potentially our most hotly anticipated car track combination yet. Tonight we will decide who is going to be going home with that Moza Racing R5 Racing pedal and wheel combination worth well over £500 and a ticket to the 750 Motor Club Awards night on the 10th of February. Most likely it's going to be Traffic King as he's dominated the season so far, but it's all up for grabs for the second and third place prizes. That AE Racing training session with a GT3 driver, in addition to a rig mat from Upshift Store for the second place driver, and for third place the Track Racer seat mount kit and a £50 Tekiwa.com voucher, all to play for in the final stages of the championship. My name is Chris Stevens. Alongside me for one last time this season, Chris Buxton. How are we doing, Chris?
Sad that this series is coming to an end, but all good things must do so. And exactly as you say, Chris, this is definitely been one of the most hotly anticipated rounds. These cars are so fragile and so different to everything else we've seen this season on a very tricky and challenging circuit. One of my favorites. I make no apologies for making that statement. Traffic King, yeah, one hand is on the trophy, but if tonight completely falls apart, can you imagine if Colin kind of stole the honours away at the very, very last? Colin being the closest challenger, John Power is in there as well. We will talk about those very, very shortly. But it is not Traffic King on the top spot of the grid. Look at this.
Yes, absolutely. Jake Hewlett, the 2022 Type R Trophy champion, joining us for this final round of the season, denying Trafford King the 100% record of pole positions in this season. They line up on the front row of the grid together. Then comes Ben Goodwin and Harvey Pullinger, who still has a shot at a trophy winning position in the championship, lying fifth in the standings going into this weekend. Then comes Finley Tidmarsh, Colin Cunniff, second in the championship, sixth on the grid. Adam Parsonage, another driver who could still walk away with a prize this weekend. He's fourth in the championship, starts from seventh. Then Alex Hurren, Paul Jarvis and John Power, third in the championship, complete the top 10. Then comes James Madden and Steve Bentley with Daniel Marshall and Keith Whitby on row 7. Mark Crawford and Dan Jude on row 8, Francis Twyman and Peter Cornelius on row 9, Will Hartley and Andrew Cooper on row 10, then Pete Belsey and Jensen Swift on the 11th row of the grid, Alex Forster, Adam Zieber, Vaughan Jones, Max Spooner, Andy Woodvine and Tom Davies in 28th. And we also have Jamie Peters-Ennis lining up at the back row of the grid once again after a late addition following qualifying. So yeah, quite a turn of events with Jake Hewlett, the Civic Cup champion, famously winning the title in his first season of actual car racing, having made the transition from sim racing. So he's kind of back in home territory here and showing the man who's dominated this field so far this season, Traffic King, how it's done in qualifying.
I mean, words you would never, ever have thought to be said. You're absolutely right, Chris. Trafford has just been a completely dominant force. And suddenly, out of seemingly nowhere, Jake turns up and says, yeah, you're good. Watch this. And takes that pole spot away. I mean, I'm sure Trafford is not too worried about it, but there's that element, isn't there? That's that tiny bit in the driver's brain that just thinks, you stole this away. And that's going to push him, that little bit more potentially into a mistake. But also, we don't know how well these cars fit with our driver lineup. The qualifying obviously tells us what they are like over a one-lap pace, but these things are very, very hard to race in actual racing conditions. These guys are used to kind of bit of door banging and getting their elbows out. You just can't with these. You go anywhere near each other, and the suspension just gives up and submits out of fear almost. These things are very, very fragile, but they are so much fun to drive.
Absolutely. So far this season, we've seen the tin tops. We've had a mixture of front-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive and the 7-type machinery. These are full-on single-seaters, these F1000s. A nice cost-effective way to go single-seater racing in the UK. The F1000 being the UK's premier bike-powered single-seater series. Launched in 1997 as Formula Jedi, so actually same age as me. I'm sure many of our listeners are going to appreciate knowing that fact. But yes, powered by any pre-2006 production motorcycle engine, 1,000 cc's, means they go from 0 to 60 in just 3 seconds and top speed of 150 miles an hour on some circuits. So these are probably the fiercest machines we've had all season long, and definitely, as we mentioned at the top of the show, one of the most hotly anticipated car track combos. So we're kind of ending the season on a high, I think, because everybody kind of rubbed their hands a little bit when the calendar was announced that the F1000s at Donington, that's going to be a spicy combination.
You pretty much perfectly personified that, exactly what I did when I read that combination. Every combination we have had thus far has been superb. And well representing just the diversity of the real life motorsport that is available in the 750 Motor Club, and this is no different. But these being so far removed from what we've had thus far, it's going to require a very different discipline from our drivers. Now, if Trafford King finishes 4 positions ahead of Colin Cunniff, not necessarily taking the win, just 4 positions ahead of Colin, he will take the championship. But like we said, that is far easier said than done.
Yes, I think it might actually have to be a couple more places, because we have 63 points available if you include the fastest lap point as well. So 63 points across all 3 races, and Colin Cunniff is currently 36 points behind Trafford King in the standings. So yes, I think if he extends the advantage to 42, then he will have the championship crowned in the first race of the night. That is the permutations, as it were, going into it. Of course, we've got the 750 Motor Club members sub championship as well, which is being led by Trafford King, the novice champion, so to speak, in the Type R trophy in 2023. He's 13 points clear of Colin Cunniff there, with Adam Parsonage at 26 points back. So it's unlikely we'll see too much movement there, but of course, for second place and third place, the other 2 prize winning positions up for grabs in the overall championship, they are still very much up for grabs between 4 drivers. So let's head to the grid for race number 1. We're on the grid then for the first race of the night, the season finale in the 750 Motor Club Sim Championship, powered by Grid Finder, the 5th and final different car track combination of the season. And it will be Jake Hewlett, the guest driver, not scoring points, remember. So even if Trafford King finishes second to Jake in this race, he will still get the points for the win. And it will be Jake Hewlett, the 2022 Civic Cup champion, starting on pole position on the left-hand side as we're looking at in that yellow car, and then the blue car with the yellow tip nose is Trafford King alongside him. Ben Goodwin and Harvey Pullinger line up on the second row of the grid. Remember, Pullinger is still going for a spot in the top 3 in the championship. He's 5th in the standings, 10 points back from John Power, and he's going to be starting down in 10th place in this race. Qualifying not been a strong suit of Power in this season, but we have seen him rise up through the order in the 3 races. There will be 3 15-minute encounters to come, 1 reverse grid race as well. But for now, we're going to get ready for race number 1. All the lights are on. We're underway for the first race of the night. A very nice start made by the pole sitter, Jake Hewlett. Trafford King coming under a bit of pressure, I think, from Harvey Pullinger, who looks like he's charged straight into second place and going for the lead now on the inside of Redgate Corner. A few cars locking up on the way in. Jake Hewlett has managed to get into the lead. Ben Goodwin in third place behind Trafford King. So maybe he got a little bit deep into the first corner in that silver and blue car. Look at the speed as they fling through Old Hall. And that is Ben Goodwin from third place, who's got it all wrong and collected one of the cars. And that might have been Finley Tidmarsh.
It looks like it was indeed. When you hit the grass, no matter what it is, you are such a passenger, and there's no room to kind of recover that. But as we now look at, Trafford King had a bit of a steady start, you could argue. Probably the first time he's had a rough start in any race all season long. But he has done what he needs to do. His main rival, Colin Cunniff, or his closest rival, I should say, Colin Cunniff, having went off the road at one at Redgate, so that's given a big advantage as far as the championship is concerned. Whilst Traffic King doesn't need to overtake Jake Hewlett for that toss point, he is going to race as hard as he has done all season long. These cars may look tiny, they may look small enough to put in your pocket, but they are ferocious under the right foot.
Yeah, Traffic King, remember, even if he finishes second to Jake Hewlett in this race, because Hewlett is a guest driver and not scoring points, Traffic King will still get the points for the win. And as it stands, he would be in a position to take the championship in this first race of the night. And then maybe we'll see him go a little bit gun-ho a little bit later, although Colin Cunniff's going to have something to say about that. He's just moved his way back up into 8th place. So remember, it's 6 points that Traffic King needs over Colin Cunniff, or 5 places and the fastest lap point. So we'll see how that unfolds. We'll keep monitoring in that battle for third in the championship as well. Harvey Pullinger has made a good start and is up into 3rd place, but John Power from 10th to 4th in the first 2 laps. So and Adam Parsonage right there in 5th as well. So the 3 guys battling for 3rd place in the championship are line astern at the moment.
That is a fantastic livery on Alex Hurren's car. I very much enjoyed it. Again, a wonderful array of liveries we have seen all season long, and this race not disappointing. John Power, how many times have we seen this from John? Either a difficult or some kind of issue in qualifying, and has just stormed through the field. Multiple podium finisher, and sometimes from the back of the field. So just getting inside the top 10 for this race, already up to 4th with Harvey Pullinger, his next target. But we are continuing to watch Alex Hurren. He's on the back of Adam Parsonage. Now, slipstream being a major thing, you can see the rear wings on these cars, keeping them in check through the twisty bits, so therefore making the slipstream more important along the straight heading towards the Robert chicane. Oh, and you just saw too much curb there. These cars do not like being unsettled. They're not tin-top cars. They won't ride curbs that easily. So that would have cost Alex Hurren some time.
On board with Colin Cunniff in 8th place, desperately trying to keep his championship hopes alive to the penultimate race of the season. And he's getting a great run down the Craner curves here on Paul Jarvis for 7th place. And so long as Traffic King does not manage to get the fastest lap point. Oh no, that's definitely going to cost Colin Cunniff though, because Jarvis just got it wrong on the old hairpin, and Colin Cunniff, nothing he could have done to avoid that.
Oh, he committed to the move, but sadly, a snap of oversteer has just sent Colin Cunniff off into the dust and way outside of the top 10 now, even nearly down outside of the top 20. So that has almost certainly sealed his championship challenge, unless disaster strikes Traffic King. But Jake Hewlett is running off. Well, Jake Hewlett is pulling a Traffic King, you could argue. How many times have we seen Trafford just run off into the distance on everybody else? He's having a taste of his own medicine, but slightly further back, John Power. Oh, he's been gifted the position from Harvey Pullinger, just going slightly too deep into Redgate, and that has opened up the podium spots once again for John Power. Yeah, coming back to the liveries I was mentioning, big shout out to JW Designs for faithfully recreating the liveries from last year's championship, and they look absolutely resplendent.
I certainly do. About a third of the way into the race now. This battle for 3rd place, not only in the race, but also in the championship, not letting up one iota. So John Power now into the podium places, ahead of Pullinger, ahead of Parsonage. So that'll give him an extra point or two to try and protect his, what is the last remaining prize-giving position in the championship. That was Jamie Peters-Ennis there in the blue car, just taking 12th place away from Vaughan Jones into Coppice. And we rejoin that battle for 3rd place. Harvey Pullinger here in the silver and white number 9 machine in the middle of this pack, trying to chase down that podium position once again.
Jamie Peters-Ennis is another driver that has started at the back of the field in all. The only race he wasn't actually in was our first one at Silverstone in the Toyota MR2s. And the reason for that was that he's a reserve driver, so he didn't commit to the full season, but has taken part in nearly all of it. As all Vaughan Jones has had trouble. He's plummeting down the tower, as you can see. Yeah, but Jamie Peters-Ennis has started at the back of the grid and actually has had with that consideration, very, very representative, very strong finishes. Even threatening top 5 finishes at certain points. We continue to see Harvey Pullinger trying to stay in the tyre tracks of the highly, highly experienced John Power, as well as fending off the advances of Adam Parsonage behind. Alex Hurren a little bit distant in this battle, but this fight for third position, this conga line, isn't showing any sign of abating as Parsonage getting very close. Oh, you can try and move into the crane. It is very, very dangerous, but these are downforce-based cars. You can do it as long as you trust the person you're trying to pass through those twisty sections. But that's cost him a little bit of momentum out of the old hairpin. It's now Pullinger. Oh, he got very close to the back of John Power there. Now the momentum gain has switched back to Parsonage. So this is why I think this battle is going to go right down to the line.
And before that little moment there where the momentum changed hands, it was only 3/4 of a second separating those 3 cars. Pullinger here, we're looking back from coming under pressure, but Parsonage deciding that discretion is the better part of valor going into the chicane once again and trying to get himself some good momentum down the straight here. I think he has managed to bag himself some. I think there's a little bit of traffic coming into play there as well. Or is that Alex Hurren trying to... Yeah, it was just traffic. So Pullinger able to fend off the advances of Parsonage for now. We saw Parsonage try and have a go into the craners last time around. He does seem better out of Redgate, doesn't he? Lining him up into the old hairpin, but very difficult to make a move down there. Such a fast right-hander. And you see Pullinger's actually gained quite a bit of ground there on Parsonage. So a mistake out of the old hairpin there, costing Parsonage some ground. He's now dropped back by a full second and has relieved Pullinger, despite a little bit of a moment there on the exit of McLean's.
It's not a very long run from McLean's up towards Coppage, so it wouldn't have cost him too much. Slightly further back, we've got Paul Jarvis on the back of Will Hardy, then almost flirting with the grass on the outside of McLean's, as we just saw. That's traffic very much staying out of the way. Very nicely done there. Jake Hewlett with another fastest lap, threatening yet under a minute. Under a minute! Donington Park is absolutely obscenely fast. But again, just goes to show how incredible his talent is. He's got him to 2 seconds over Traffic King. No one has got 2 seconds over Traffic King all season long, except for a couple of races at Silverstone where his race didn't quite go as well. Everywhere else, it has been the King show. But Jake Hewlett is really demonstrating how good he truly is. Alex Hurren still on the back of Harvey Pullinger's gone for an excursion somewhere. He's got we just saw him in the background there, so he's had a problem with the old hairpin and he's now exploring the scenery.
Not good for Harvey Pullinger. He needed to be taking points out of Parsonage and Power to try and get into the top 3 in the standings. That will have done him no favours at all, as he's now down in 8th place and very much detached from that battle now for the last spot on the podium. And he was the furthest back in the point standings of those 3. 5th in the standings, 69 points back from our championship leader Trafford King, as Jake Hewlett sets another fastest lap of the race, 1 minute flat .2. And for the first time this season, I'm going to say Trafford King has got no answer for the race leader's pace as we're entering the final third of this first race of the season, of the day now. And he is 3 seconds back. Beard is squabbling further back. Keith Whitby has gone for an off-track excursion down at the chicane and falling back to 16th place.
I think it was somewhat helped into that side by side through the Roberts chicane. These cars may be small, but that's probably the smallest part of the circuit to try and do that. Back to Pullinger now on his recovery drive on the back of Cooper for 8th place now. Is he going to try side by side through Starkey's Bridge up through Schwant's Curve? Now it's the right-hander of McLean's. That's somebody else going for an excursion. As we've lost Alex Hurren. I think he just has decided to park the car following his incident. That is a great shame for him. And Harvey Pullinger couldn't quite pull off the move for what is now 7th place.
So interesting. What's happened with Alex Hurren there, I wonder? Because he was in 5th place. It's still showing him in 5th. I wonder if that was just a glitch on the timing screen there, because he's still showing in 5th place. So, yep, there he is. So we've still got him.
What's happened there is an unfortunate issue that sim racers have to deal with. Basically, he lagged out for a period of time, long enough for the tower to think he had disconnected, which is why he started to reshuffle in the tower, and then he has reappeared in the session. His game is still running, but there was Yeah, like a transponder issue essentially. So where there's a gap big enough in the timing for the tower to suddenly get confused on where actually are you. Good move from Harvey Bullinger there, but sadly backfired. Too deep into McLean's. That was well driven from Cooper, enforcing the issue there for Pullinger. So yeah, that was all that happened there for Alex Herron. Confused her slightly, but still running in 5th.
Yes, I'm sure anybody taking part in the iRacing Daytona 24 Hours this weekend can relate to that. A bit of an ambition over adhesion moment there for Harvey Pullinger. But still that in 9th place as our race leader, Jake Hewlett, back on sort of home turf, as it were. He came over to the 750 Motor Club last year, or I should say in 2022 now, to the Thai Power Trophy from the sim racing world. In his first season of car racing, won the championship. We're certainly talking about a very talented young man here, and has pulled 4.2 seconds now over our championship leader, Trafford King, who will still be getting the points for the win, because Jake Hewlett is a guest driver for this round, and Trafford King, as it stands, will be taking the championship as he's outscoring Colin Cunniff, second in the championship by a considerable margin now, with Cunniff down in 12th place after a couple of off-track excursions. Not necessarily his fault, but that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. We've got 2.5 minutes left in this race. John Power's just on his personal best in 3rd place as well, and he's trying to protect that 3rd place in the championship ahead of Adam Parsonage. And this is Harvey Pullinger, another driver still going for that 3rd place in the championship, but not necessarily going his way in that silver car, making its way down the straight. 2 minutes left on the clock.
Absolutely. So, yeah, we just saw Harvey Pullinger. They're just losing out to Steve Bentley along the back straight into the Robert chicane. Right behind him is Colin Cunniff, trying to at least get towards the top 10 alongside Will Hartley. So to almost Robert. Oh, that was close. That's why I'm saying earlier, you can go side by side. The crane is right. Race leader Jake Hewlett's having to avoid an incident and has had to take it to the dust. And that's going to cut his lead quite significantly. There you go, 104 on the tower, his last lap, as Steve Bentley has overcooked it up at McLean's and gone for an explore of the countryside.
Yeah, so Jake Hewlett surviving a moment at the chicane there. His lead gap has dropped, but it's still 2.2 seconds. I'm sure we're going to be coming up to the last lap pretty shortly, as we've still got quite a good margin over Trafford King there. There's that battle for 5th place, as Alex Hurren has made his way into 4th ahead of Adam Parsonage. And Parsonage got a little bit of traffic behind him, but Parsonage down 1 spot. Music to the ears of John Power, as his spot in the championship is looking a little bit more secure than it was a couple of laps ago, but still, of course, a long way to go. With 2 more races to come. Of course, the next race will be the top 10 reverse grid race, and that would actually be Colin Cunniff, who's just made his way into the top 10. That would put him on reverse grid pole position with Harvey Pullinger alongside him. So still definitely all to play for. There he is in that number 26 machine. Red, white and blue. Very, very national colours, as Jake Hewlett is now on his last lap.
Yeah, I've been trying to decide which livery I like the most. Again, shout out to JW Designs. They've done such a great job. Oh, I don't envy Alex Hurren, though. Look at the amount of cars ahead of him. Only one of which is John Power, who's the one he's already focusing on. Oh, that was close. Coming in the credit goes riding on board then with Alex Overdone into the old hairpin then. Oh, that's going to leave him right in the middle of the track. I mean, fortunately for Alex, there's no one else around him, but he needs to get going quickly. He doesn't want to be staring the wrong way. And again, that's the amount of torque and how horses available when you dump the throttle like that. These things weigh so little. It's barely more than a damp flannel's worth of weight in these cars. So very easy to spin.
Here comes Jake Hewlett now to take victory on debut in the 750 Motor Club Sim Championship, powered by Grid Finder in race number 1 at Donington Park. But Trafford King with 2nd place in this race. I'm pretty sure we will confirm him as champion, with Colin Cunniff down in 10th place. We'll wait for Colin to get over the line. But Trafford King, as it stands, will be champion. Here is Colin Cunniff. He needs to be in the top 7 to be in a position to deny Trafford King the title in this race. And as Colin Cunniff makes his way over the line, he'll start the next race on reverse grid pole. but with Colin Cuniff over the line, Trafford King is the first 750 Motor Club Sim champion.
Oh, that is a great performance, and well deserved as well. You can't say Trafford's lucked into any result. That, if anything, it was just the bad luck he had in Silverstone, particularly in the reverse grid race. It's the only blip on his season. It has just been vast majority ones across the board. But yeah, take a bow, Jake Hewlett. That was an unchallenged race.
So cars going to be making their way back to the line. There's Trafford King with a little celebratory drift there. Making their way back into the pits. Fastest lap of the race did go to Jake Hewlett there, and it was that 1 minute flat point 2:18. Colin Cuniff will be starting the next race on reverse grid pole position. But the first championship trophies to be handed out, we've secured it, and it's the top one, and it will be Trafford King who gets the Moza Racing R5 Racing Bundle, that pedal and wheel combination worth £500 and a ticket to the 750 Motor Club Awards Night on February the 10th. And hopefully we'll be hearing from either Jake, our race winner, or from Trafford King very shortly. But Chris, I mean, yeah, what a race. What was the last time we saw Trafford King short for pace?
We have never seen Trafford King short for pace. It's sim racing, or I dare say trackside either. A very, very hot racing talent that we are watching. And when he has had to race, the racecraft has been very, very strong. So again, very much looking forward to how his racing career develops. But there were wonderful performances throughout. And again, I always looked at John Power, who is somewhat the senior citizen of the grid. Not even, he won't deny that. I think that's well known. But again, 10th up into the podium in difficult to drive cars on a challenging circuit. Superb effort once again.
Certainly was. And of course, we had John Power up on the podium as well, just giving him an extra couple of points there in the battle for third place in the standings. We can now hear from Jake Hewlett, our race one winner. I mean, Jake, I know sim racing is your forte, so to speak, but nobody's been able to challenge Trafford King like that all season long. Can you hear us, Jake?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. Thank you very much. Obviously done a lot of sim racing in the past, and slowly starting to pick it back up again. Obviously saw that this was going on and the sort of sponsors involved, and unfortunately was late to the party, but figured I'd come in and have some fun with some great drivers.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you have to come back next season if we can see more battles between you and Trafford for next season. So tell us, how are you enjoying this combination across the F1000 at Donington Park? I think it's been one of the most popular car track combos we've run all season.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I was skeptical at first, but as soon as I got in the car and started turning some laps, absolutely brilliant. It's a really good combo. Obviously, it's not quite as easy to be door to door with the open wheel, but we'll see what happens on this reverse top 10 here. It's going to be interesting.
Now, it seemed like the only drama in your race really was a little moment at the chicane, and we only caught the end of it. Can you just fill us in on what happened there?
Yeah, I come round and I think there was some cars battling and maybe sort of come against each other, and I'm looking into my apex and the next thing I see is a car there stationary, so had to take the exit ramp left, but we survived, so it's all good.
And of course, you mentioned you're now going to start 10th on the grid in the next race. Trafford King has done 2 clean sweep events so far this season, even in the reverse grids. So where are you expecting to come back up into?
I think, unfortunately, we have lost Jake.
Oh, yes, it looks like we have, unfortunately. Okay, well, hopefully we'll get him back in a minute. Unless he's been dragged away from us because he hasn't got enough time before the next race, maybe. But, Jake Hewlett there. Fantastic performance in that first race. I hope we get a chance to chat to him again. I'd like to know what his racing plans are for 2024. His IRL plans, so to speak. So, yes, we've got the reverse grid race coming up next. And Colin Cuniff will be hoping to undo a little bit of the damage done in that first race of the night there, as will Harvey Pullinger in his battle for third place in the championship. He'll be starting on the front row of the grid. And then, of course, we're going to have Hewlett and Trafficking and John Power starting 10th, 9th, and 8th.
I've always looked forward to the reverse grid races. I love reverse grid races. I suspect there's going to be a few more nerves with these cars. Jake mentioned you can't go door to door with these things. Well, they have no doors for a start, but like we said earlier, you just cannot have that kind of almost BTCC style of door bashing and elbows out racing with these cars. They simply will not take it, and you can't throw them around as you would with a tin top car or even a sevens type car. They get unsettled so easy. The power to weight ratio in these things is absolutely bonkers. Like I said before, they are so small and a huge amount of power. You mentioned earlier, Chris, that they'll accelerate to 0 to 60 in 3 seconds, and weighing barely more than a damp cloth. They are hard things to navigate, especially when you've got groups. And we saw numerous times, didn't we? Groups of cars, not always on the same lap either, all together. Makes for a very interesting race. But yeah, Jake saying that they are great fun to drive. I've not driven these things in real life. I've driven similar in sim racing, guys, and he's absolutely right. When you get it right, it is magical.
Absolutely, and I saw these cars out in action for the first time actually last year. Can't believe it's been so long since I've been doing 750 Motor Club stuff, and it was only last year that I ended up seeing the F1000s in action myself at Donington Park, and it is amazing the way they sort of skip and bounce over the. You can see the lightness and also the stiffness of these cars, because they are just little pocket rocket single-seater racing cars. Very cost-effective way to go single-seater racing in the UK. The UK's premier bike-powered single-seater series, as mentioned at the top of the show, with a great legacy behind it as well, running since 1997. And actually, it was Tom Gadd who was champion of the series in real life in 2023. But we're going to see who can come out on top in race 2 very shortly. Reverse grid race about to get underway, then the second race of the night in the final round of the 750 Motor Club Sim Championship, powered by Grid Finder. It will be Colin Cunniff who will start on reverse grid pole, having finished 10th in race number 1. He's second in the championship, and with Traffic King confirmed as champion now, he will just be going gun-ho, but Colin Cunniff can still wrap up his second place in the championship and bag himself that training session from a current GT3 driver, courtesy of AE Racing, as well as a rig mat from Upshift Store. And the battle for third place in the championship, vying for that Track Racer seat mount and a £50 Tegiwa.com voucher, still to be decided. It will be kind of on reverse grid pole. On the left-hand side, as we look at it, that white, red, and blue machine, and then the black and white of Harvey Pullinger starting alongside him, with Paul Jarvis and Andrew Cooper on the second row of the grid. All the lights are on. We're underway for the reverse grid race. Lovely start by Colin Cunniff from the front row of the grid. Pullinger will try and challenge on the outside into Redgate. He's drawn just a little bit of an overlap, but under braking for Redgate has to bail out and settles for second place. Andrew Cooper there settling into third as well. Parsonage has dropped a couple of places as Traffic King has made his way up into seventh place and ahead of our race 1 winner, Jake Hewlett, as well. So they're seventh and eighth respectively. John Power still ahead of them though in sixth place. This is who we're following now. He, in fact, make that fifth place and make it fourth place in a second, because he's trying to get through, and Paul Jarvis getting very close there on the outside. John Power gets squeezed out and drops back down to seventh behind Traffic King.
Goodness me, it is what we thought would be the case. Lots of jostling for position, but people being very, very mindful of the fragility of these cars, but they're still going 3 wide down to the rubber chicane. Traffic King. Oh no! John Power, wrong place, wrong time. Again, Jake Hewlett has had to take to the sand to avoid issues. That's someone going into the pit lane there, but that was a huge incident for John Power.
And I wonder if Jake Hewlett managed to get through that unscathed as well, because he's dropped down to 10th place. And where has Traffic King come out in all of that? 23rd place. So having just been crowned champion, Traffic King down in 23rd place at the end of the first lap on this second race of the night. The recovery drive already underway as he's now making his way into 21st place. But big drama now and a big opportunity for some other drivers to try and come away with the top honours. If the championship was still up for grabs, we would be going absolutely berserk in it, because Colin Cunniff, second in the standings, is still leading the way, but Cunniff can still bag himself that second place prize. Plenty of drivers still struggling to keep it on the track, so that actually promotes Traffic King up to 16th place now. Oh, it's going to be 14th in a second, because there's more cars off the road. The timing screen is shifting and shaping left, right and centre at the moment, so let's try and make some sense of it in terms of our top runners. So we've got John Power in 6th, Jake Hewlett now in 7th. There's a couple more drivers struggling to navigate the chicane. That battle for 3rd place still being disputed by Pollinger and Cooper and Hurren as well, 2nd, 3rd and 4th. This is our race 1 winner, Jake Hewlett, in that yellow machine, looking at the back of John Power, who is trying to secure 3rd place in the standings. Jake Hewlett not scoring points in this round. Remember, he's a guest driver, so John might do best to let him go. And Will Hartley's just gone for a spin out of McLean's. And Jake Hewlett getting squeezed onto the curb and gets it all wrong. He's through the grass at Coppice.
It's chaos and bedlam all over the place. A lot of people really struggling to get to grips with these cars. I would have understood that in the first race, but this is the second go in these cars. Either way, we're now seeing Alex Hurren challenging Cooper for that 3rd spot, but again, just can't overcome the difference between the two, but forces an error then for Andrew Cooper, and then gets up into that podium spot. I was terrified we were going to see Max Spooner rolling backwards onto the circuit following his incident last time around. Thankfully, that didn't happen. I'm sure we've all seen the cars recovering from incidents and sadly rolling back onto the racing line. We didn't see it this time around, glad to say. But now, Alex Hurren, what can he do? Clear air ahead of him to the tune of 3.1 seconds behind Harvey Pullinger. Can he close that gap down? We will see. John Power on the back of Jamie Peters-Ennis, who has managed to survive all the melee and now inside, at least for the time being, the top 5. I said before that he's been in the position of challenging for those top 5 spots throughout the season. Did get 5th actually in the 3rd race at Croft. So he's certainly capable of getting up to those positions. He's just, unfortunately, in the first race, he's always started from the back. So he's always been disadvantaged in that sense. But here he is against one of the championship forerunners, one of the fastest drivers in this entire series, John Power, with Dan Marshall right behind.
Great battle here as Jake Hewlett sets the fastest lap of the race, but on board with John Power as he chases Jamie Peters-Ennis for 5th place. That blue machine in front of him to the outside here of Schwantz curve, and then that'll turn into the inside at McLean's. Of course, got Dan Marshall in that Matthew Higginson blue livery to contend with as well. And I'm sure Power will be thinking about that. But he's got a great run now onto Starkey Straight, and he'll have the outside line for the chicane. Jamie Peters-Ennis holds it firm up the inside. They bang wheels and Power's up the curb. Comes back on right in front of Dan Marshall there, and I think in doing so has just abated his momentum enough to try and hang on to that 6th place. But they're going to be side by side into Redgate still. The Higginson livery car, the one with the Disclop colours on the outside of it, is going to the outside, but nothing doing down into Redgate. And John Power's got it all to do again, this time to recover a 1.6 second gap to 5th place now.
I've also been trying to decide which livery is my favourite, and every time I look at another car, I think, oh, that looks great, I love that one, and then so the process repeats. But John Power then, with 1.3 seconds to close in on Jamie Peterson before he can challenge again for that spot inside the top 5. Ben Goodwin in a three-way fight here with Finley Teague, March and Steve Bentley for 12th position, just coming through Schwantz and heading up towards Coppice themselves, and that's Steve Bentley exploring the track limits again in the plain white car. Again, another fantastic livery from JW Designs, as we see now the front runners coming over the line once again. These races, as they do, just fly by in the blink of an eye. 15 minutes, so much battling in these cars to enjoy. Ben Goodwin having to bide his time a little bit more. Trafford King getting the fastest lap with a 1 minute 0.2, beg your pardon, as we're now riding on board with John Power. He's closed that gap down to less than a second. He's homing in on Jamie Peters-Ennis. He does have time to close that gap back down, as long as he doesn't run off the road, which has been so easy to do. So many top drivers have fallen foul. Just seen Adam Parsonage drop a couple of positions. Again, that'll just be one small mistake with that looks like a bigger mistake, because he's just lost another one to John Madden. Adam Parsonage in a bit of trouble. I think it was Adam that had to serve a drive-through penalty on the opening lap as well. So that's usually for jumping the start. Here comes John Power. What can he do? Jamie Peters goes for that defensive spot. That's going to compromise his line through the Robert chicane. But John Power didn't have the momentum he needed. Well navigated once again by Jamie Peters-Ennis.
And just looking at the mirrors there on the left-hand side, he's going to get mugged here by Dan Marshall on the outside. Brilliant momentum out of the chicane. That's Dan Marshall up into 6th place. And I was about to say that John Power was hanging on to a chance at 2nd place in the championship by 1 point as it stands. That is now slipping away. 6 points is what Cunniff needs to secure 2nd. So that position in front of him is what Power needs. He goes into the back of Marshall, coming through the old hairpin as the lines collided there. But Power, if he wants even an outside shot securing 2nd place in the championship, needs to get ahead of Marshall. Not only that, to try and help him secure 3rd place in the standings, ahead of Pullinger and ahead of Parsonage.
And now they've got Jake Hewlett along for the ride, as we now watch back from the green and black liveried Dislot car of Dan Marshall. We see John Power and Jake Hewlett very, very close together. A little bit further back, you can see Forster with Trafford King arguing for a spot inside the top 10 as well. So this is how close it is. Jake Hewlett retrieves that, nearly getting sub a minute, then goes for the inside line of Redgate. I don't think John Power thought that one too much, recognizing that's not his fight, and relinquishes the position for the time being to Jake Hewlett.
John Power's a wily old fox with a lot of experiences in his 60s, as we see. That's Hewlett now going for both positions there in front of him. So that's Hewlett up into 6th place. I think that was Peters-Ennis getting done by Dan Marshall as well, but Marshall not coming off incredibly well in all of that. So Power's come through as well. It's Hewlett 5th, Power 6th, Peters-Ennis 7th, and then Marshall now in 8th. I was just saying, John Power, years of experience under his belt as the former Formula Ford racer and rally driver as well. Using that experience to good effect there and benefiting from a position. Now, that was Alex Hurren who had gone off, and I think Andrew Cooper went with him as well, because that's put Jake Hewlett up into 3rd place. So they've clearly had an exchange down at the chicane, and that's dropped them from a podium position. Not great news for them. And of course, that does put Power back into a position that will keep his hopes of 2nd place in the championship alive, but he'll be thinking about protecting his 3rd place spot, as Peters-Ennis here is side by side with Andrew Cooper, who's got the blue and yellow livery there, and Dan Marshall trying to muscle in that as well. Marshall's got up the inside, but he's going to run out wide there at McLean's, and we'll go straight back through again. Another car that's gone off the road there. That was John Power. That was John Power from 4th place.
Oh, wow.
And into the barriers. And that is 2nd place in the championship done. And it might well be the end of 3rd place in the championship as well, because he's only 8 points that I make it going into this race ahead of Parsonage.
Wow. How quickly a championship battle can change, as Cooper is side by side with King. through Redgate. Oh, with Traffic King on new champion, just flirting with the grass. Here comes Dan Marshall now to try and do something about it, and nearly bounces off the side of Cooper, side by side through the old hairpin. Fantastic stuff. It's impossible for our camera crew to know where to point the camera. This battle is absolutely everywhere. But that's allowed King and Peters Ennis to get a bit of distance between them. Dan Marshall's not done yet as they come together with Cooper once more. Around the outside comes Forster to claim the pair of them. That's Ben Goodwin that's now caught up with them. So still a four-way battle going on here. Then at the bottom of the shot, we saw Traffic King and Jamie Peters Ennis side by side on the way down towards the chicane. I think Jamie Peters Ennis may relinquish that. He does indeed. Still a strong finish for him, but right behind them, that battle still ferociously being fought with only 3.5 minutes left.
Yeah, not long to go now. Traffic King into fourth place now, ahead of Jamie Peters Ennis, and Forster in sixth. And Dan Marshall's good work is not done just yet, because he's got this car, the white and blue machine of Ben Goodwin, squabbling over 8th position, going down into the Craner curves. 3 minutes left on the clock. No move up the inside into Old Hairpin. We've seen that's not been quite the best move to make throughout the night. And still looking at the back of that green disc lock machine in 8th place. In turn, is still looking at the back of Adam Cooper, but a wide moment there for Dan Marshall. Looks like he spent more time on the grass on the exit at McLean's than he has the actual racetrack in this race. So we go on board with Marshall now, looking at the back of Cooper's car, who in turn is looking at the back of Forster as well. So a four-car squabble here for 6th position in the dying stages of this reverse grid race. And still all to play for. Remember, the finishing positions in this race will also determine the starting positions for the final race of the night. As we're going to go 3 wide into Redgate Corner. Marshall in the middle there, and it didn't look like it was going to end well for them, but they just about survived. And that was Alex Forster, who's gone for a spin on the exit of Redgate as well. So that's moved them all up a place. Ben Goodwin has come out on top in all of that, and Adam Cooper down to 8th place. But that was enough moment there. That was enough moment for Ben Goodwin. All that hard work's just been undone.
You cannot call who's going to come out where. We've seen so many battles just magically turn upside down in the blink of an eye through one small mistake. But look at this. That's the white car's a backmarker. So it's Dan Marshall that now leads this troop that has Cooper, Goodwin, and Tidmarsh, and not far behind Will Hartley, that's bringing with him Peter Jarvis. So this could become an even bigger field now, all squabbling for what is now 6th place. Ben Goodwin, recovering from that issue, just fends off Adam Cooper. Finley Tidmarsh is in there waiting for things to go wrong, and all the while that gap behind them to Hartley and Jarvis is closing down quite quickly.
Certainly is. Just 1 minute left on the clock now. Our race leader, Colin Cunniff, 5 seconds to the good over Harvey pulling out. This will secure 2nd place in the championship for Cunniff. And Jake Hewlett, meanwhile, has done our first sub 1 minute lap of the night. 59.897 seconds. That kid's pace is just something else, isn't it? Here comes Cunniff. Car number 26 starting his final lap of the race now. All on his own out there. Been a wonderful drive from reverse grid pole. And all the squabble, all the drama has been happening behind him. He won't have any clue about what's been happening in this race so far. Finley Tidmarsh trying to steal a position away here from Adam Cooper as they go side by side down the back straight towards the chicane. And Tidmarsh now into 8th place there. We're outbraking on the outside into the chicane as they go on to their last lap now.
Nicely done there. Cooper relinquished the position when he knew it was done. But that has invited Will Hartley in for the battle now. So position still being very fiercely fought. Final lap it may be, but the racing will not diminish at all. Colin Cunniff may have had a quiet one. It very much puts his night into what might have been for race number 1. A great shame that his first race ended the way, but at least he will see the checkered flag for the top, at least tonight.
Colin Cunniff exits the chicane and takes victory in the reverse grid race at Donington Park, secures 2nd place in the overall championship after a brilliant season for the youngster. And Harvey Pullinger takes 2nd place in his bid for 3rd in the championship. Jake Hewlett, our race 1 winner, comes home in 3rd, but Traffic King will get the points for that position, finishing in 4th place. Jamie Peters Ennis should get across the line in 5th. ahead of Finley Tidmarsh. And then who's going to come out on top in this battle for 6th place? It's Tidmarsh in 6th place, just about, then Adam Cooper, then Will Hartley and Dan Marshall. And Alex Haran should come across the line in 10th place. There's a bit more squabbling down at chicane.
A little bit. Yeah, that got very, very uncomfortable. 3 wide in the rubber chicane. He's never, ever going to win. Steve Bentley's still having trouble. That's up at Coppice. It's taken him quite a long time to return to the track. He's almost down to the rubber chicane before he does so. Oh, my goodness me. Absolute chaos in the closing stages of the race. But this was... someone expected this towards the beginning of the race, but it didn't really stop, did it? But again, some fantastic racing once again from the 750 Motor Club.
Yeah, absolutely astonishing stuff. Just trying to do a quick bit of mental arithmetic here and try and work out what the situation is in terms of battle for 3rd place in the standings, because of course John Power only coming away with 7 points there with a 15th place finish in the end, but Adam Parsonage was only 12th in that race, so not a great haul there. I'm sure Harvey Pullinger now is going to be the one to challenge, if anyone is, for 3rd place in the standings, but we'll come back to that in a moment. The big news from that race, Colin Cunniff securing 2nd place in the standings, and in doing so winning himself a training session from a current GT3 driver courtesy of AE Racing, as well as a rig map from the Upshift store. So the second trophy, the prize winning position that has been secured for tonight, in addition to Traffic King being confirmed as champion. Now all that's left to decide is who's going to be taking on that track racer seat mount kit and a £50 tequila.com voucher for 3rd place in the standings.
Well, your surname has to begin with P before you're eligible for it. It would seem with John Power, Adam Parsonage and Harvey Pullinger all in close combat for that. But Colin Cunniff now joined us.
Yep, he certainly does. Colin, a sterling drive, and in doing so, securing 2nd place in the championship. You must be thrilled with that.
Yeah, happy to finally get a win that's not tainted like the one in the first round. But yeah, a long time no speak.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it has been a while. How's the season been for you?
It's been very up and down. The first race always seems to go not too bad, but I think my year out of racing, sort of my driving etiquette and just general responsiveness has been a bit lacking, so race 2 always seems to go a bit wrong. So, but yeah, I've fairly enjoyed it.
Well, we're glad to hear that, and of course it's the end of the season as well, so hopefully this has enticed you to come back for next year. You got one more race to come. Nothing to gain or lose in the championship, so just go for broke from pole position?
Pretty much, so hopefully another race like that, but I see Jake and Trafford are 3rd and 4th possibly. I didn't see how it finished, but so I don't see it going my own way this time, but we'll see what happens.
All right, fair enough.
I might learn something.
Chris, any questions?
Race 1 really undid itself. No matter how much you tried to recover, something just went wrong. Where did that all kind of start to undo for you, Colin?
First corner. I pretty much got on the throttle and it just understeered off, and I went back 3 or 4 places and then tried to get back, and I was behind someone going into the old hairpin and they lost it. They just seemed to disappear from my view, and then they just came and wiped me out, and yeah, I went back again and then came back through and had some great battles. I don't know if you got Keith's move. There were 3 wide going into the final chicane, which was a good one. But yeah, I applauded them on that one. But yeah, every race seems to be like that, where I have to be in a battle. I'm just not, my racecraft just hasn't been quite there. So to get out front and just go ahead seemed to be a wee bit easier for me.
And we look forward to seeing you. Will the 750 Motor Club be enjoying your company this year in 24?
Not in the real version. Money's very tight, so I'd love to get back into the Alpha Championship again, but unless some funds come my way, then unfortunately it's only going to be the sim version if you do another one.
We look forward to your company in that if we get the opportunity to run it again.
I look forward to that.
Thanks very much for chatting to us, Colin. Congratulations again on 2nd place in the championship. And yes, we certainly hope to see you back next year.
Cheers, guys.
Right. So I've been doing a little bit of math, Chris, and I hope it's correct. Maybe Toby can confirm this as well. But I make it 5 points that separate Power, Pullinger, and Parsonage, with John on 208, Harvey Pullinger on 204, and then Adam Parsonage now on 203. So Pullinger ahead of Parsonage now. So yeah, low scoring race for both Power and Parsonage there, with Pullinger really coming back into the fray now. So that is all to play for our last prize giving position there of third in the championship. Hopefully someone can double check my maths there, because it's been a little bit rushed.
I didn't even attempt. But my mental arithmetic is, well, it's done by other people. Quite frankly, I leave more clever people than I to do that sort of thing. But what a fantastic finale. A prize on the very last race of the entire season. This is the 15th race of the season, and we still have prizes up to grabs. This is what we love in motorsport, isn't it? And I can't wait.
Absolutely. So who is going to come out on top then? The 60s Formula Ford and Rally driver John Power? Is it going to be Adam Parsonage, the former low cost and Type R trophy racer? Or is it going to be Harvey Pullinger? We are going to find out very, very shortly. The third and final race of the night, the final race of the initial season of the 750 Motor Club Sim Championship, powered by Grid Finder. And just before we get into this last race, I'll just say what a pleasure it has been to share this incredible season with you, Chris, with the wonderful team of Grid Finder and the support from the 750 Motor Club. For all of you watching as well, and the wonderful drivers that have joined us along the way as well. We've certainly seen some absolutely fantastic racing in the races we've had so far.
Absolutely, and I'll certainly echo that. It's been an honour and a pleasure to be in the commentary box, or the virtual commentary box, with you, Mr. Stevens. And the drivers are such amazing characters, aren't they? It's one of I haven't had the opportunity to enjoy the company of the 750 Motor Club. I very much would love to do so in the future. But for the final time in this season, and certainly for the final time tonight, let's have one more word from our sponsors.
Grid Finder is the home of sim racing leagues. Our management tools allow you to recruit drivers and monitor their ratings and live splits. Find this and more at gridfinder.com. Sign up for free today.
The final round of the inaugural 750 Motor Club Sim Championship, powered by Grid Finder, is about to come to a close with the third and final race of the F1000s at Donington Park. We've had 5 wonderful car track combinations to give a full flavour of the various offerings of the 750 Motor Club, with the Toyota MR2s at Silverstone, the Mazda 7s at Croft, the Type R trophies at Thruxton, the Bike Sports at Alton Park, and rounding out here with the F1000s at Donington Park. We've seen the variety of cars and various different types of forms of racing that the 750 Motor Club has to offer. And it's very much whet our appetite for the real racing season to get underway in a few weeks' time. Of course, the Snetterton pre-season track day only a few weeks away, happening on the 9th of March. So that's definitely one to look forward to before the season gets underway properly. And if you haven't booked your place already for the awards night, you should do so now. But we're going to get underway for the final race of the season. Wonderful start from Harvey Pullinger from the front row of the grid. Looks like he's challenging pole sitter Colin Cunniff on the outside of Redgate Corner. And Pullinger bails out into Redgate Corner on the outside. Remember, Pullinger going for that third place in the championship, needs to outscore by 4 points to Power as they go through side by side now with Jake Hewlett already up into second place. Stunning start by him, challenging for the lead on the outside of Old Hall, but settles for second.
Oh, that was very close once again, but everybody getting a fairly decent start there. Jamie Peterson got a bit mugged off the line. He was started up in 5th. He's down into 10th position. John Power has just jumped. Well, he's actually having an argument with the aforementioned Peter Zennis. But it is Cunniff and Hewlett at the top, with Traffic King actually slightly off the back of Jake Hewlett. Again, that's not something you often say, with Traffic King being off the back of anybody. Harvey Pullinger losing out to Will Hartley there, coming into the Robert Chicane. Down into 6th position. Oh, that was someone edged. Oh, that's someone taking a very fast detour towards the pit lane. Not 100% sure which car that was. We now look at James Madden, briefly, as we now look at Andrew Cooper in the midst of this pack. Jamie Peterson is up into 8th position now, with Forster going for an outside move into the crane of curves. This is going to bring the inside line, heading down towards the old hairpin Forces. Forster to the outside line, and they remain where they are. But now it's Peter Jarvis having a look to see if he can gain for... Well, he does indeed, side by side, up towards McLean's. No, they remain where they were at the beginning of the lap. But it is all out arguments. Oh, in the background, that's trouble. That's John Power. That's Paul Jarvis.
Well, a lot of drama in the opening stages of this race. Colin Cunniff has only a very slender margin over Jake Hewlett. Make that no margin at all. Jake Hewlett's hit the front, on the front straight here at the end of the second lap. Jake Hewlett in that yellow car, a race 1 winner, back up at the front. Colin Cunniff down to second.
Yeah, Colin did kind of allude to the fact that he thought this would happen, but either way, he's going to press on nonetheless. Traffic King right behind. The 3 of them have broken away from Finley Tidmarsh to the tune of 1.5 seconds. Will Hartley still with a lot of company in the form of Alex Harron and Harvey Pullinger, as Forster and Cooper swap round for 9th place, you can see on Tower. Jake Hewlett already building himself up a second, flirts with the grass, but gets away with that one, using every pixel of the space he can to maximise his already incredible pace. Almost side by side comes Traffic King. Well, now they are side by side. Traffic King, Colin Cunniff. Traffic getting great momentum on the exit of Coppice. Got the inside line for the chicane, and that is second.
Great stuff by Trafford King. So Colin Cunniff, our pole sitter, down to 3rd place. Just looking for John Power somewhere on the timing screen because I haven't seen him come through anywhere. And Chris, maybe you can just point out if I'm just being blind, but I can't see him on the timing screen anywhere.
John Power is out of the session.
John Power is not in the session. What has happened to John Power? Some sort of technical problem for him, and that is going to cost him 3rd in the championship.
That is, at the very last. We did see him exit stage right a couple of laps ago, and that is, I think that's the first time John has retired from, he had a bad run at second race at Donington Park, just checking the results, but that's the only other race that has gone that badly for John Power at such a crucial moment. He could have come away with a prize, but sadly that has been denied. So that's going to put Harvey Pullinger then in the prime position for that.
Wow, drama in the opening stages of the final race of the night. So if it was a collision then for Power, then maybe not a technical problem, but wow, what a way to lose it at the last race. And Power's been running in the top 3 in the championship all season long, and even if it went to count back, it would have been Power's, because he's had 7 podiums, whereas Pullinger and Parsonage have only had 2 apiece. So he's really been the form man in terms of consistency. Wow, heart goes out to John Power there. But as it stands, it will be Harvey Pullinger who will secure 3rd in the championship, our last prize-giving position in the championship, as Jake Hewlett sets the fastest lap of the race and it tries to extend his advantage over Trafford King. It's now 2 seconds with Colin Cunniff in third place, Finley Tidmarsh fourth, Will Hartley in fifth, only a couple of tenths ahead of Alex Hurren. And then we're looking here at Jensen Swift in 15th position, trying to get ahead of Vaughan Jones. He's drawn alongside Vaughan Jones on the outside line there in that blue car, but can't do anything with it by the time they get into Redgate. Yeah, it looks like a battle for fifth place still to be unfolded. And here it is, Alex Hurren there in the black car chasing the white and red machine.
Almost Marlboro-esque colours on Will Hartley's car. But yeah, you never want to see it, do you? Sort of technical issues denying a racer the opportunity to come away with potentially, some real superb prizes. But alas, that is motor racing, whether it is sim or trackside, the same difficulties befall. But that we still have plenty of racing to enjoy, as Alex Hurren is doing what he can to get into the wheel tracks. Well, he's in the wheel tracks of Will Hartley, trying to close down what is now 0.8 of a second. And Will Hartley closing in on Finley Tidmarsh. So we've got a battle for fourth forming between these three cars. Maybe towards the tail end of the race. There, you just see in the background is Harvey Pullinger. So he's certainly going to be the greatest beneficiary from how this race has gone. Will Hartley has gone for an explore somewhere. Where's he gone? Oh, he's had trouble at the old hairpin, so that's dropped him down into seventh, into the clutches of Jamie Peters-Ennis. So, well, that completely split the battle I was looking forward to forming in the fourth position. But as we've seen time and again this evening, these battlers can reform at the blink of an eye.
So Adam Parsonage in 12th place. Now, not a position to help him get third in the championship just yet, but his pace is pretty electric at the moment. And my math was correct before the race. There was only 1 point separating them going into this final round. So as it stands, Pullinger would be third. But let's keep an eye on Adam Parsonage and see what kind of progress he can make in the closing stages of this race. Still 7 minutes left to run. In fact, he's just made up a spot into 11th place. There he is, heading down the Craner curves now ahead of Peter Cornelius. Going to have to keep it very neat and tidy. Of course, he's going to have to outscore Pullinger by 2 points if he wants to take away third place in the standings and try and bag himself that Track Racer seat mount kit and a £50 Tequila.com voucher. We've got less than 7 minutes left on the clock now. Personal best coming in for Cunniff on that previous lap, but still 3.5 seconds back from Trafford King. And that battle for fifth place rather undone by the earlier spin, as Alex Hurren's kind of sitting by himself at the moment. But this is Jamie Peters-Ennis in 8th position, only just ahead of Alex Forster, but Peters-Ennis going off on the exit of Redgate Corner. But his F1000 car being turned into a lawnmower for the briefest of periods still manages to hold station ahead of Alex Forster.
Andrew Cooper is not far behind either. Now, he has got someone near him. That is not a position he's fighting for. There's a back marker, I believe, that is with Andrew. But he's trying to close in on the battle just ahead, which is Peters-Ennis and Forster. I wonder whether there was impact between those two coming into Redgate. As suddenly Jamie Peters-Ennis went wide at the same time that Alex Forster had a bit of an oversteer moment. It would have been the merest of touch if it was. But we've also seen Jake Hewlett once again reassert his dominance with the only man being able to get under a minute. Trafford King is very close. He's within a tenth of doing it, but 59.8, the fastest lap from Jake Hewlett a couple of laps ago. But there we see Forster still keeping the pressure on, trying to force that mistake on Jamie Peters-Ennis in that battle for 8th position. Will Hartley is safe enough ahead. He doesn't need to worry too much. How close do they get? Coming down into the old hairpin. Oh, that's a spin in the background. I think that's Forster that has dropped it. So, Cooper, excuse me, that may well have dropped it there. Another battle forming here. This is for 6th position between Belsey, Jarvis and Bentley. So, yeah, Pete Belsey in the middle of that with someone trying to recover. Always very difficult at that particular section. It is so fast. You need to be very, very careful about how you rejoin the circuit. But this battle, battles all over the place as we've all had all night long. Forster still trying to challenge for 8th place from Peters Ennis.
Jake Hewlett improved on his fastest lap by a full 0.005 of a second, 59.880. He's just done on that previous lap. The lead gap now 3.9 seconds as Alex Forster here in 9th place in that darker blue machine. Still tries to find a way past Jamie Peters Ennis for 8th position. And Cooper not too far away from that as well. This is that battle on the left of your screen, a little bit further down for 16th, 17th and 18th. One of the closest battles on track at the moment. We're coming into the closing stages of this race and indeed this season, where we've raced 5 different car track combinations to really give a flavour of what the 750 Motor Club is all about. And we hope you've enjoyed that as the season has gone on. And that battle for 17th has ended in tears because Pete Belsey, I think he just got a slight tag from the rear from Bentley as another car's joined him in the grass there, but yes, just a slight tap on the way into McLean's perhaps.
Potentially so. It was Dan Marshall actually, who was so strong in the last race, who was exiting stage right along with Pete Belsey. So whether there was a tap or whether he lost it on his own, there was nowhere for Steve Bentley really to go, and slams into the side of Pete Belsey's car. As we now look at the battle for 8th. Once again, Jamie Peters Ennis still absorbing all the pressure from Alex Forster. The battle for 8th continues. They're now just shy of 3 seconds behind Will Hardy. They're not going to close that down in the remaining, for argument's sake, 3 laps. So they're just concentrating on solidifying their own position. Not far behind, Andrew Cooper and Adam Parsonage continue their argument for 10th.
2.5 minutes left on the clock. Jake Hewlett's advantage 4.6 seconds. Alex Forster, car number 95, still trying to find his way through on Jamie Peters Ennis. One of the closest battles on track, with Cooper not too far behind as well in 10th place. And actually Adam Parsonage joining the fight there as well in 11th place. Parsonage really trying to steal that 3rd place in the championship away from Harvey Pullinger, but he's not in a position to do so at the moment. He's got to outscore Pullinger by 2 points if he wants to do so. At the moment, Pullinger would be taking away that 3rd place spot. As Parsonage, we mentioned, his pace has been absolutely electric in the closing stage of this race. He's now on the back of the top 10. They make their way into Coppice once again. They'll have a lovely tow here, but Forster's gone for a spin, and that's bumped him up a place. But Parsonage, in retaliation, has had to go on the grass just a little bit, and that's cost him momentum down the back straight and given Cooper just a little bit of reprieve as they go into what I think will be their penultimate lap.
Indeed it shall, as the series that comes to a close. There's Alex Forster that's now recovering from that spin. There's Andrew Cooper now up into 9th position. Now he's fallen off the back of Jamie Peters Ennis into the clutches of Adam Parsonage, now that Adam is free of his quarry. So now it's just a couple more laps to kind of hang on, which is far easier said than done. I wonder if Harvey Pullinger is probably just relaxed in his rhythm now. He's 8 seconds behind Alex Harron, 4 ahead of Will Hartley. He knows that he doesn't need to kind of do anything silly to bring it home, but I wonder if he realises that he's in championship contention for that 3rd spot. I wonder if he realises that, because sometimes knowing that adds pressure in itself.
Can't do. We're into the final 30 seconds of this last race of the season in the 750 Motor Club Sim Championship, powered by Grid Finder. Now, Jake Hewlett's advantage 4.2 seconds, and this battle for 9th place still not over yet, as Andrew Cooper clearing Will Hartley in front of him and through into 8th place now, and Hartley having a big swapper there. Parsonage trying to come through of the Craner Cubs as well, takes a little bit of grass along with him as well for good measure. Contact between Cooper and Hartley ended in tears for them as they're on the last lap. But Jake Hewlett, meanwhile, comes across the line. 2 wins in one night A wonderful performance tonight by this youngster. Jake Hewlett takes the victory. Trafford King comes home in second place and very much solidifies his position not only as the overall champion, but the members champion as well. Colin Cunniff in third position and takes second in the championship as well. Wonderful season from the Scotsman. But it will be Harvey Pullinger, who's about to come across the line in sixth position, who will secure third in the championship.
Still in position. Looks like Jensen Swift has got a lot of company in ninth place as he's got Cornelius Cooper and Hartley hot on his tail for honours of inside the top tens. We've seen the last few cars come across the line. There we go. That's as they come across the line and line astern. It was Swift from Cornelius, from Cooper from Hartley, as Jarvis Forster and Steve Bentley now coming on line to finish their races. Vaughan Jones has completed his season, and Mark Crawford is going to be the last one to find the flag. What a race, what a season, what a series it has been.
Wow, amazing stuff. And it does, as we mentioned earlier, just whet your appetite for the real-life racing season that will be kicking off at that very track at Donington National at on April the 1st, I should say. So not long to wait now for that. But yeah, Chris, I mean, what a season it's been. Absolutely wonderful. Hopefully we'll get to hear from our champion in a few moments' time as well. And hopefully even from Harvey Pullinger as well, having just secured that third place spot in the championship. But yeah, Chris, what a season it's been. It's been wonderful to have these moments and have these wonderful races and just show what the 750 Motor Club is all about.
Absolutely so. And what a wonderful series it has been to represent the diversity of the 750 Motor Club, one of the oldest racing clubs in the UK. It's been such a well-run, well-put-together series. It has been a wonderful pleasure to be part of it. And to join you, Chris, has been a real honour and a pleasure.
Oh, it's been wonderful, Chris. Wonderful to have these moments in the virtual commentary box across this season. While we wait to see if we're going to hear from anybody, I'm going to give you the parish notices once again. I know we've gone through a few of these across the season, but this is going to be my last chance to tell you about them. So, a reminder, in 2 days' time, January the 22nd, that is when the early bird registration opens. On Monday. So bag yourself a free entry fee and a tyre discount as well. The 9th of March, we talked about it earlier, the Snetterton pre-season track day. Make sure you book your spot for that. And also, if you haven't already, book your spot for the awards night as well at the Crown Plaza in Stratford-upon-Avon, February the 10th. And also, the 2023 yearbook is now available with the Jonathan Elsie Motorsport photography images included in that as well. So I highly recommend you go and pick up a copy of that at some point. Now, it looks like we've got some drivers who are going to join us in the commentary box in a moment. So we're going to fill for time just for a few seconds while we wait for them to come in. Of course, mentioned as well that April the 1st, that is when the real life season starts with Donington National as well. So we have Jake Hewlett joining us once again. Jake, another superb drive, and you had to work a little bit harder for it, coming from third on the grid. But yeah, what a first lap.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I knew I kind of wanted to get it done early, especially with people running different gear sets. They obviously get off the line better. Saw the opportunity on the outside, risky on the colder tyres there, but yeah, just sent it.
Brilliant stuff. So I wanted to ask you, and now you'll be able to give me a very good answer about it. How are these cars in the traffic? I mean, obviously you had to come from 10th in the second race. You've had to fight your way through a little bit in that race as well. So what's it like in the traffic?
The traffic's brilliant. Surprisingly, like you think you'd be more on edge with it being open wheel. Obviously, if you do get hit, you do get quite significant damage. Like we had a racing incident in turn 1. Nobody actually hit me, but in the second race I caught damage, and I was surprised how much it affected the car, being quite new to Assetto Corsa. But nevertheless, yeah, just driving in the traffic's really, really fun. It's always good to drive with such talented individuals on the sim. Nice racecraft and stuff, and you know, everyone's happy and like-minded people. It's just brilliant.
Absolutely fantastic. And Jake, I have to ask you, what are your racing plans for 2024?
Anything. please get in touch. Obviously, as we know, it's really difficult for budget. There were a lot of sponsors looking to aid me for this year. And we have done some testing in various different series, and we intend to do them if we can get a bit more support. So if you're interested, I'd love to hear from you.
Well, if you're not thinking of sponsoring the kid who won the Type R trophy in his first ever season of car racing, then I think you need to check yourself right there. Jake, all the best with that.
Thank you so much, gents. Awesome job putting this on. And thank you everyone for tuning in.
Cheers, Jake. We hope to see you soon.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Jake Hewlett. Wow. Surprised that he isn't absolutely having to bat offers away of drives after a pretty superb season. Next, we'll hear from Colin Cunniff. So, Colin, second in the championship, confirmed there. Good battles in that last race with Trafford and with Jake as well. How's it been for you?
Yeah, that was. Well, I wouldn't say it was great battles. They just sort of drove past in the way that they do. But the laps that I was behind, I actually learned so much that I probably would have gained 2 or 3 tenths if I'd known what I'd known before. It was just being behind a driver like that, you just learn so much. And yeah, if I'd just done that in practice, I might have been further up the grid and I might have been able to do some more.
Well, I think you got into the mid to low 1 minute zeros there, 1 minute 0.4 in that last race. So yeah, it did seem like the pace was improving there.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I'm struggling to even make 104s before qualifying, like consistently, and then all of a sudden, like 2 laps behind them, and I'm doing it consistently. It's amazing what you pick up when you're behind those guys. Unfortunately, I've not been behind Trafford long enough to actually watch what he does.
I don't think anybody's been behind Trafford long enough, or at least within viewing distance to see how on earth he does what he does. But Colin, thanks very much for joining us, not only here in the commentary box, but also for this season as well. And hopefully we'll see you back next year.
Thank you as well, guys. The streams are always a great pleasure to watch when you are doing it.
Cheers, Colin. Appreciate that.
See ya.
I love this bit of this. Everyone gets all complimentary about you. It's lovely for the old ego there. Harvey Pullinger now joins us in the commentary box. I mean, Harvey, you went into tonight 5th in the standings. You're coming away with it 3rd and coming away with the Track Racer seat mount kit and the £50 to keyword.com voucher as well. I mean, what was the mentality going into tonight?
Mostly don't crash. It's been my entire plan, the entire season really. Just don't go off. So yeah, when it was the last race, I let the quick guys past and just tried to maintain a decent position to get enough points to get 3rd, basically.
Well, and it paid off for you because John and Adam both found themselves in squabbles and incidents, and you're the one who's come away in 3rd place in the championship out of all that. So absolutely sensational stuff and a really thrilling end to the championship fight there. What's next on the cards for you?
I have no idea. This is the first sort of championship I've done. I haven't done any on real life racing or anything like that, but I'll certainly be back next year for a shot at 2nd and maybe 1st.
Nice one. Well, we look forward to seeing that. And just very quickly, how have you found the season overall? Obviously, we've done 5 different car track combinations and a great community of drivers as well. I mean, does this whet your appetite to try and do some club racing yourself?
Yes, most definitely. It's been very interesting having a different car each race, getting to know it, getting faster and faster. Yeah, it's been a very interesting season.
All right, well, thanks for joining us, Harvey. Been a pleasure having you with us.
Cheers.
I do hope Harvey does, find himself in something.
Definitely. I mean, proving that consistency is king, because that was only his 2nd podium in the entire season. He's come away in 3rd.
Yes, absolutely. Brilliant stuff. Speaking of podiums, here's a man who's had quite a few of them, quite a few wins as well. Our 2023-24 750 Motor Club Sim Champion, Trafford King. How you doing, Trafford?
Hey, lads. All right, how are you guys?
Yeah, we're pretty good up here. What were you thinking going into tonight? Obviously, you had a nice advantage, but you can't take anything for granted, I suppose, in motor racing. So, how was it going into tonight's racing?
I knew points were there, and I knew there was a gap. I was trying to work out what I needed, race 1, race 2, whatever on Colin. And then I saw Jake had dropped into testing. I was like, oh, here we go. He's going to be fast. But yeah, it was just a case of steady points and wrap it up, really, I think.
Yeah, and well, you certainly did that. Managed to do it in the first race of the night, and I think probably for the best as well, because you had a pretty miserable start to the second race as well, with Colin leading as well. That would have been a real heart in mouth moment for you.
Yeah, it all got a bit wild into the last chicane. I think someone dived me, and then they made contact in front, and then I got it from behind, and yeah, I think I ended up about 20 odd at some point. But it was good fun for a little recovery drive. Obviously, it wouldn't have been that way if I still had to get points for championship.
Yeah, absolutely. Could have played out very differently indeed. I think we've liked having Jake in the race here because he's giving you a little bit more competition. So do you think having you and Jake for a season-long battle next year? How does that sound?
Yeah, I think that would be a good laugh. In that last race, I was just trying. Like, I saw him go, and then I saw him as soon as he got past Colin. I was like, he's gonna bolt here. So I had to make my way past Colin quick enough, and then it was literally we were just matching each other. You know, he was getting like maybe half a 10 for 10 for me, and then every time I went quicker, he went quicker. So I was like, it's a no-go this. Second.
Yeah, well, it's been another great weekend of racing for you. I mean, unbelievably, the first time you've not won a race in a night. Although technically you've got the points of the win for 2 of them because Jake is only a guest driver, so a little bit of a quirk there. But still, nonetheless, it's been a wonderful season for you. And is the plan still to carry on in the Type R Trophy for the coming season and go for the title?
Yeah, now this is out where we can get some testing done for Civics and see how we can get on it season. I think I want to push for it this season a lot more. Last season was a learning curve. This one's going to be all out. Let's have it.
Trafford, we wish you all the best with that. Congratulations again on the championship.
Cheers, guys.
Trafford King, our champion and potentially Type R Trophy champion of 2024 as well. We should keep an eye out on that.
Yeah, he's made the bold call, hasn't he? But then he's proven he's got the talent. So
absolutely.
Yeah, there'll be those that say, "Oh, it's just a game." Yes, yeah, that monarchy is never far away from sim racing, but racing is racing on what platform, whether it's a sim racing form or trackside. If you're a good racer, you're a good racer, and the skills is definitely transferable.
It certainly are. One of the few esports where you can actually transfer the skills over to real life racing, and of course he's got the real life credentials to back it up as well with the novice championship in the Type R trophies from last year as well. So we'll be seeing Trafford at the awards night on February the 10th. But we'll be seeing you next on April the 1st at Donington Park for the start of the 750 Motor Club season. My thanks to everyone from Gridfinder and the 750 Motor Club for joining us along the way. And thanks to you, Chris, as well, for your company across these 5 rounds. We will see you in the first race of the season.